Greetings and salutations, everyone. I'm back with another review here. I'm going to be doing two of them here because technically this is an 80s throwback, as well as also being part of that second chance cinema where I'm checking out movies that I initially didn't like and ended up liking them on another viewing. This one is for The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension from 1984. Now, this isn't actually a second chance film for me, but more of a third chance film, which I'll get into in a moment. As for what this film is about, a synopsis I came across reads, adventurer, brain surgeon, rock musician Buckaroo Banzai and his crime-fighting team, the Hong Kong Cavaliers, must stop evil alien invaders from the eighth dimension who are planning to conquer Earth. Now, if that's hard to wrap your head around, just hang on. Let's start with the cast before moving on with this. So, like my previous Second Chance film review, which is for The Dead Don't Die, I'm going to put that link in the description. This one has a very great cast, though I'm not sure how great they were considered back then when they first made this, but it all worked back then, and a lot of these people went on to do quite a bit of important work over the years. But within this cast, we have Peter Weller, Ellen Barkin, John Lithgow, Jeff Goldblum, Christopher Lloyd, Vincent Schiavelli, and Clancy Brown, just to name a few. But we also have Jonathan Banks from Community and Breaking Bad, and also Jamie Lee Curtis shows up, Dan Hedaya, Yakov Smirnoff, and Carl Lumley, who was just in Falcon and the Winter Soldier earlier this year. See, great cast. I don't even know how they got everybody to do this, because looking back, I'm sure they were just kind of starting out their career, some of them at least. But at any rate, when I first saw this, so let me just go back to the synopsis for a moment here. If it feels like that synopsis is for an episode of a TV show that maybe you're dropping into like midway through its third season, you're not alone. Somewhere years back, I came across an old review for this film which mentioned it feeling like they were not in on the joke, or that maybe there was a comic book that this was based off of that they never read. And I could not agree more. It definitely made me feel a little bit left out, like it just threw me in there and I had no idea what was going on. To add to that, when I first saw this film, a friend of mine had an old VHS bootleg copy. Now, she had a few of us over to watch it, and it was the most difficult thing to understand, just to know what was going on. The main reason was that although she was having a great time watching this, laughing along with it, quoting it and everything, she's really getting her nostalgic kick going, I couldn't hear a thing. Not because of her, but because the audio quality on this old tape, the sound was extremely muffled. So with the film already being kind of strange, having it be muffled and not understandable in a lot of scenes really made it worse. And I just, that was my first viewing for it, and it really put a bad taste in my mouth. But even on the second viewing, which was off of a DVD, which I was gifted, and I was even then so not interested in, I ended up re-gifting it or donating it later. Can't remember which one. But I ended up getting rid of it because even on that second viewing, I just couldn't get pulled in for some reason. So finally, a few years later, I was on this 80s kick. I was watching a lot of old 80s movies, listening to a lot of old 80s music and everything. And I decided, since watching old films was kind of part of this kick, I wanted to track down Buckaroo Banzai one more time, give it another try, see if I could get on board with what this fan base who loves this movie was really pulled into. So that's how I got into my third chance on the film. And somehow I finally got it, so to speak. I feel like going into it knowing that it's a bit strange and having some, fading memories of the other attempts I had watching it, it was able to, kind of prepare me a little bit more for it. Went in very open-minded and absolutely loved the film. But anyways, speaking of the film, back to it. So from that synopsis, it's sound, it represents what the film is about. But to go into a slight bit more detail here, the best way I can describe it is that Buckaroo Banzai and his rock band, or he has a rock band. He's also a test pilot and a brain surgeon. And he's doing this experiment involving traveling in and out of an alternate dimension. But he brought something back with him that was bad that they need to deal with. But this dimension was also accessed once before, and one of the inhabitants had come through a long time ago and has been trapped here ever since. So now when they hear about this experiment, they see that as a chance for them to continue their plan of world domination. So it's all over the place, but it's still a lot of fun. So continuing on, and without giving too much, spoiler territory here, which, I always have a hard time with. I don't want to give any, too much detail to where I spoil it, but I also don't want the review to be too plain and vanilla. And just say that his band and his crime fighting group, the Hong Kong Cavaliers, are working with Buckaroo throughout this. And what throws me off even more, when I was originally watching it, was the fact that within the film, everybody knows who this character Buckaroo Banzai is. He's a celebrity. So not only is he, the rocket scientist and brain surgeon and, rock musician and everything, but he's also really famous. So everybody knows him. He's got a fan club, an actual fan club. He's got contact with world leaders. It's just strange. It feels like, as I mentioned earlier, like you're being dropped into a show that you didn't get to see the previous episodes to know really what's going on. But again, knowing that going in, you really can just kind of sit back and enjoy this weird sci-fi comedy. Just know that there are going to be some things that you may not really grab onto right away. But if you get pulled in, you might even find yourself quoting it. It's such a fun and absurd kind of film. There's all sorts of great dialogue that kind of comes up, little lines here and there that keep popping back. But looking back on this, and this is kind of like how my journey went with the film. Initially I didn't know what the hell I was watching, couldn't make out what the dialogue was, and lost track of anything going on in any scene, what they were going for, what was happening. It was just a confusing mess, and I just kind of wanted to know what this joke was that I was not in on. And then it eventually changed on that third viewing to just let me know that it's got some strange sci-fi fun in this, and I can just kind of sit back and enjoy it. I mean, it's got Jeff Goldblum in it. He stands out really well. He's a very funny guy. But I mean, just look at this. I'll put up a little picture or video of the way that he looks in it. He's dressed up as a freaking cowboy. I think his character's name was New Jersey, but I might have gotten that mixed up. Anyways, it really is a fun movie. A very strange one. It took me 3 tries to finally get into it, but there's a lot of nostalgic throwback in this, whether it's within the music or within the fashion sense, just how they're doing the special effects, or seeing these actors who you may be familiar with now, but getting to see them in their youth when they were maybe just starting out. But needless to say, I recommend giving this one a shot, as you might find something enjoyable in it as well. Hopefully after watching this review and knowing what it is that you are in for getting into this movie, you might end up enjoying it, or maybe if you tried watching it years back and just could not get into it, maybe it's time to just give it another try, see if you can accept it for what it is and enjoy it as much as I did. Anyway, speaking of enjoying, I hope that you enjoyed this quick little review for another one of those Second Chance Cinema, which is also an 80s throwback one on this one. Be sure to do all that YouTube stuff, making sure that you like, subscribe, hit that bell icon, leave a comment if you like, and, be sure to share this around. Let's see if we can kind of get those average views up, get some more subscribers so I can just continue to make more and more of these along the way. But at any rate, that's it for now. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. And remember, no matter where you go, there you are. See you, everyone.